You got to press the little button, Anna.
I did.
Okay, just wondered.
This ain't my first Zoom rodeo.
Anna,
Yeah.
lots to talk about.
Oh my, I
Lots to
cannot
talk about.
wait. We haven't even talked all week. This is like the longest we've gone like a whole week
Yeah,
without
even
speaking.
when Megan's dog died the other day, I texted you and said, "Hey, I'm sure you already know this, but Megan is distraught as she should be." I mean,
Hold on.
yeah,
Stop. I'm going to stop you right there.
go on.
I, in fact, was the one to text you that said Megan is putting her dog down today. Just thought you should know.
But I
And
didn't
then you
get
texted
that.
back several hours later. So yeah, I spoke with her and I said, good. I said, you were very knowledgeable on what to do about the dogs. You
Yeah,
probably already knew, but I didn't know in case she didn't tell you. So I wanted you to know because I told her she should stop working that day. And yet she was still driving by Echo Park Lassens. But I think also too, because then she could yell at them because they were being dum-dums. I was like, no
right.
problem. You can take all of this out on the grocery store, people. That's fine with me.
Yeah, she wrote to me and says, she said, "I'm putting my dog down in 10 minutes."
Yeah.
And luckily I saw the text right away. I tried to call her right away, but she was
Right.
already, you're there. They're doing, they're doing all
Yes, it was happening.
Yeah. It's never a good thing. It's never a fun thing. But the thing I always say is, I had to put, Stella down
Right.
earlier this year. Was it
Right.
this year?
A
It
year
wasn't
ago.
that long ago. Yeah, it was a year ago. And
Mhm.
it's just never easy.
No, God, no. It's awful.
Before that, we had to put Topsy down, and we had to put Lola, the cat, down. And a year before that, it was Sophie. So it was like, we had
Yeah.
a bunch of them just getting old.
Yeah.
And
It sucks.
you start doing that patchwork towards the end. It's like you start keeping them alive, right?
Oh,
And
I know.
you start wondering, am I doing this animal any service at this point? But we don't want to let them go. And
Yeah.
I know you're there right now too.
Yeah.
You're getting towards the end.
Izzy, I don't know, because Lucy just got in last night. So I don't know if Izzy made some sort of, I'm not going to say a miraculous recovery because Nosh is still a
Right.
very old dog, but all of a sudden in the past 2 weeks, the night dementia stuff has stopped. So maybe the trazodone that we're giving her at night is actually working and she is sleeping through the night again. But I'm telling you, 3 weeks of your dog waking up and scratching at the walls and going nuts in the middle of the night will make you go, oh, we should probably kill our dog because you become all sleep deprived. And then we got her on a good medication. She seems to be okay right this second.
Right.
But even in talking with Megan and I both agreed that Izzy, we would definitely be putting Izzy down and Lily's doing fine. And isn't that weird because Lily's 14 and, Izzy's 12 and a half. And,
right.
But you never know how long, you don't ever know with these dogs, right?
Yeah, you don't. And you see, when I was talking patchwork, you're at the beginning of patchwork.
Right.
And once,
but I have you for a friend. I can talk to you who's had this experience. And by the way, it's my first dog who's been my own dog. So I haven't gone through it before. I left the house when my mom's dogs were young enough that I didn't go through. I didn't witness it. If I've done it with the cats, but never with the dog. And here's what I'm figuring out. And I don't want to say this about all vets, but I'm also like, they don't necessarily know either. Like they can look at blood work and they can say, okay, well, are they eating and peeing and pooping? I mean, it's like definite when they're not eating, peeing, and pooping, and they have diabetes, kidney failure, and pancreatitis, and they're miserable. You can tell, but sometimes it's not cut and dry. Because I kept asking, like, okay, dog dementia, like, what do we do? And then you go on the internet, and it's like you hear just,
well, look,
insanity.
When Topsy got really bad, Serena had to go. Her mom was going through issues in England, and she had to go there.
Yeah,
she was gone for a couple of weeks. And Topsy, the patchwork stopped working. And because we knew Topsy's, had liver failure and the whole thing, and
right,
old dog. And so it became, I need to keep this dog alive until she comes back.
Exactly. That's the thing. You don't want the dog to die on your watch.
Right.
Or have to put them down without their main owner.
Well, that's the deal.
Tori was calling me in Atlanta, sobbing, crying that Izzy randomly just hoisted herself into the pool because she doesn't know where she is. You know what I mean? And she's jumped in the pool and grabbed her. And I was like, well, she can swim. Just so you know that, because she was like holding Izzy up. And I was like, no, she's a dog. She can swim. She just you just need to grab her out of the pool. She has done that a couple times, by the way.
Yeah, no,
and it's nuts. It's just, and Tori's sobbing, crying. And then I feel out of control. I'm crying because I can't be there to help. And I'm like, please let this dog just stay alive long enough. And here we are 3-4 weeks later, a month later. She seems to be all right at the moment, but that almost mentally prepared me for what's coming very soon. Yeah.
Yeah. And you just have to, the one thing we have, and I'm saying this for all dog owners, if this is your first rodeo, I always say, look, we're going to miss them. They're going to be gone. They get under your skin. They're part of your life. But then at some point you start wondering, I could have done this sooner for this dog. You start wondering if you kept him alive too long.
That you told me that a couple weeks ago, a month ago, and that is what stuck with me, because I want to be really careful that I'm not keeping her alive for me. Like, she has to be ready. She's chilling. Like right now it's fine. But and I told that to, I said, Vinny told me, and I told this to Megan, because I was like, and the good thing with Megan's dog, and this doesn't always happen, her patchwork period was very short. It was literally like a week. She really went downhill. Like, and it went quickly. And to me, that's kind of a blessing, because your questions get answered. All those questions that we have. Wow, this is a really depressing beginning of the show, but I hope somebody out there who's listening, who's never been through this, gets some love and some. It's not an easy thing. And it's an expensive thing. By the way, Megan said the dog, she goes to the emergency hospital. They said the dog needs CPR. It's going to cost many, many dollars. I don't know the exact figure she said. And Megan goes, okay, because on humans, we do CPR for free.
Yeah.
And I was like, but do we though? Because you have to call the ambulance and the people and the thing, and you get charged for that.
I know how to do CPR.
I do too.
Yeah. I had to learn it for, physical education for school. I had to relearn it when I did one of my scuba certifications way, I mean, like 30, 40 years ago, but it's still the same thing, I can deliver CPR, which I don't like that about myself, because if someone goes down on an airplane, you technically can go do that. Yeah, you're obligated if you know how to do it, and there's no doctor on board, then, you're next up. Listen,
you probably remember this, because I told you this years ago. For many, many years, I was the voice on the American Heart Association that narrated instructing how to do CPR.
Yeah.
And they probably replaced it by now. But if you have to do it, it's better than not doing it. And remember that you do it to the beat of
that's what Anna said.
Staying alive. That's the beat you're supposed to do. Boom, boom, boom.
Well, I know what the final song is going to be today.
I know. And I was like, how ironic that it's the beat to that song.
Yeah.
But no, I went and took a class after I narrated all those videos, because like, this is interesting. I want to know how to do this. But you're right. Then it's kind of up to you, if you're certified, that you have to go save somebody's life. And that scares the shit out of me, because I've never had to actually do it.
Yeah. I've never had to actually. Well, let me think about that.
Let's knock on wood. Much as I wouldn't know how to do it to a dog. So maybe that's why you get paid $1,000 to do CPR to a dog.
Yeah, it's all crazy. It's, towards the end, sometimes I looked around and went, okay, if we didn't have any kind of money, dog would have been dead a year ago.
Oh, yeah.
And insurance, we paid for dog insurance through years and the whole thing. And
you told me that 10 years ago. You're like, you need to get dog insurance. And I was like, nah, it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, when they're young and they have that Vinny. New dog smell. Yeah. That Vinny's just too funny with his insurance and everything. Anyway, Anna,
once again, Uncle Vinny was correct.
On an up note.
Yes.
I called over to HQ.
Yeah.
To Andy and Company. I said, Andy.
Yeah.
I'm lying now. I'm lying. I
did call you HQ?
No, but Andy is HQ.
Oh, okay. Is Andy the boss of you?
I'm muckety muck. Actually, Chris Schaffer.
Okay.
So, Chris, how are we doing with that promo code that I put in place for the ultra fat? He showed me the numbers. And folks, that number ain't small, which means you guys are enjoying this. So I said, you know what, Chris? Let's do another lap. Let's take it one more time around the world. So we still have that promo code going. I'm going to keep it running because you guys are obviously enjoying it. And when I saw the number of people who are taking advantage of it,
great.
I'm very happy. Promo code Vinnie, VINNIE, over at NSNGfoods.com. Now, if you have a subscription, look, if you have a subscription, you get 15% off every time your subscription goes through. We reward people for making our job easy. So the subscription is one thing, right?
It's also a prescription.
Yeah. But the other side of it is
I'm logging into my account.
You want to get 20% off. Now, listen, I'm going to teach you guys how to cheat. This is how Anna cheats. So Anna went and got herself 20% off a couple of weeks ago. And she doesn't think I saw it, but I did. Then she went back in as Lauren Torquenio under his email address, and she got another 20% off. And then she went to her neighbor's house. What did she do? She got another 20% off. So you can only use this promo code once. It's a one-time deal. I wish we could set it up if you just put the Vinnie code in every time, but we can't figure out how to do that. So put in that Vinnie code, get 20% off right now, and then go cheat me by finding someone else with a different email address, and you could do it over and over again. 20% at UltraFat, at NSNG Foods, the UltraFat. Squeeze our nuts. Everyone's loving it. Go do it.
Go do it.
The PDF is still free, so go get that. Just go do it. Boom. Anna, what do you want to talk about today? Anything?
I think we should launch into this really excellent question that Foxy Hoxie texted us. Because the reason why I say that is because this is a question that comes up frequently in the groups, in the clubhouses that we do, in the Instagram Q&A, and just people randomly asking about this thing. And here's why I say that, because I feel like NSNG feels too simple for people. So they have to find.
I just get into the question because now you're already.
I'm setting it up because I just know once I ask it, you're going to go off on a thing. That's why.
All right. Let's see.
Foxy Hoxie asks, "Hi guys, I've been asked several questions about carb cycling and what you two think. I think it's a Ben Azadi thing, and they heard him at KetoCon and Keto Orlando. I don't know anything about it, except why add carbs when I gave most of them up but veggies. Can you touch on this?" See, I knew it.
Oh, God.
Yeah, see, you're really excited to have the carb. Here, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to Google carb cycling and see what the definitions are.
I don't need the definition.
Oh, Lumen does carb cycling. And I know Lumen has been really targeting the low carb community with their breathalyzer thing.
Fuck it. I'm done. I quit. I'm turning.
Done.
I'm leaving. I mean, look.
I knew you would get upset, and this is what I was trying to do is to prevent you from getting upset.
Okay.
Although we all enjoy when you get upset.
No, I don't enjoy it because all I'm trying to do is teach people. And then you get Ben Azadi, who's telling people something. Why? Ben Azadi, he's been on my I had him on my podcast. He was preaching the good news. The whole thing. But stay in your lane, man. You don't have a degree in anything. You lost some weight and decided to become an expert, and now you're talking and telling people what to do. You're not right. No.
I thought Ben Azadi was a doctor.
No, Ben Azadi. Go look him up. He's not.
Okay. No, I'm on a site.
He's not a doctor. And look, I have nothing against Ben Azadi. Nice guy. But I'm trying to tell people the truth. Okay? Remember when people were backloading carbs at the beginning of this podcast? That was something they were trying to do, backloading carbs.
I didn't even understand. I still don't understand what backloading carbs means because I don't understand why people just don't use real words.
It's all the same bullshit.
They say refeed, and I'm like, what is refeeding? And you're like, it's eating.
Backloading,
it's just eating.
Refeed. Okay. And
what is backloading?
I'm going to explain it. It's all the same fucking thing. It's a different day. Okay.
Good.
We're
Good. I'm
never
gonna put
so
on lip
brilliant.
gloss.
We're never so brilliant as when we're trying to justify our own fucking bad behavior. And that's what's going on here. And I'm pissed. I'm sorry, folks, if I'm cursing too much, but I'm ticked. I'm really ticked. This is not some kind of actor show I put on.
He's miffed.
I'm trying to figure out how to make people healthy. And we have people out there go, oh, you can carb cycle, you can backload, you can refeed, you can. No, it doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work that way. Tell an alcoholic, you know what? You haven't had alcohol in a year. You could backload some alcohol and then you'll be fine. Does that work? Does that work?
Refeed some bourbon?
Yeah, have some bourbon. You know, look, you haven't had it for a year. You can backload a little bourbon there. You'll be fine. Does that work? No. No, you're an alcoholic. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Early on, people were going, oh, you could backload carbs. What that meant was, hey, go out, work out like a fiend, burn up some carbs, do some high, intensity workout, burn off some of your blood sugar, and then you could go have some ice cream, whatever you want, put the carbs back on. Doesn't work that way.
That doesn't even make any sense, especially in light of how you answered the Instagram live about working out zone 2 and all the zones you're supposed to be in. That would make no sense.
Remember early on in the Vinnie Tortorich's No Sugars, No Grains women's group. Remember that?
I knew you would bring this up. Yes.
They were like, my period, women always use their period as an excuse for everything. I can't blow you. I'm on my period. I'm on my period. Oh, my.
But there are a lot of experts out there. I see them. There are a lot of experts out there. And by the way, I've heard this from doctors on YouTube saying women are different and women should carb cycle and have more carbs in different times of their cycle. I'm just saying that's what's being said. I know it frustrates you, but I'm saying that's what's being said. So it's not like people are not getting mixed messages. They very much are getting mixed messages.
I don't know if you remember what I did when that happened. I went in the women's group and I said, okay, you guys want carbs? Do it with cruciferous vegetables. You got your broccoli, your cauliflower, your Brussels sprouts. Have some asparagus. That's not what they wanted to hear. They wanted to hear that I can have pasta on occasion. You want to take in more carbs? Have some cruciferous vegetables. Have that. But no, that's not exciting carbs. You can't lick that carb. It's not ice cream.
Why not have some blueberries then? Why couldn't you have some blueberries if you really wanted to do it? Or is that like a slippery slope situation?
It's just like you can have, I've always said you can have low glycemic fruit, but this is not what they're trying to do. They're trying to have their cake and eat it too, literally. Right. And that's what drives me nuts. It drives me nuts. Right?
Yeah.
You can't tell an addict, and a lot of people, look, there are a lot of people who take NSNG. There are different people out there. They'll take NSNG, no sugars, no grains, to the letter, and they will have fruit. They will have low glycemic fruit. They will eat vegetables. They will eat meat. They do it that way. And guess what? They're perfectly fine. Then you take someone like Don Coddington, my buddy, right?
Right.
You go, all right, Don, why can't you do that? And Don will say, I can't do it because I'm addicted to carbs.
So if he has even a little bit of carbs, he'll want to eat.
Okay. Yeah. Don cannot have anything. Right.
Right.
Because if he eats any carbs, if he has ice cream, he knows that he's just going to be off and running. And when people are like that, Scott King is like that. Right. Our new friend, Tim Mallion, right? He decided he was on a trip somewhere and all things like, I'll just do this for a day or two. And then he started going down the wrong road. He had to break himself from those clutches and get back.
Right.
Right. It's a real situation. If you are addicted to sugar and grains, and it is an addiction, look around, folks. Look around. Everybody was putting that picture on Twitter. Do you see the picture on Twitter? The fattest man in the world back in the 18-somethings. He was like,
how big was he?
He couldn't have been 300 pounds. No. And he was in a freak show. The biggest man on the planet was like 300 pounds. And everybody was going, half the people that I work with in cubicles look like this guy. They weren't fat shaming anyone. They were just going, oh my God, look how far we've come in such a short period in history.
Right.
And this is not good. This is not good. Benazati is perfect.
But I think Benazati,
I don't have a weight problem. But I'm telling you, if I ate carbs, you wouldn't see much of a difference.
But see, here's my question: why this doesn't compute? When I look at Benazati stuff, like I'm looking at his YouTube, he has 150,000 followers. He's done great. Like he's really built up this whole thing, and it looks like most of his stuff is about keto and intermittent fasting, and it looks
which is good. That's all good. So I don't understand why he's walking on stage talking out of the other side of his mouth. We've seen this happen with other people in this space. We've seen it happen over and over again.
When I spoke at Keto Las Vegas last year, the guy who was on before me was this big, swole, ripped dude who was talking about carb cycling and making sure you have fructose before your workouts. And I was like, dude, look at the audience who you're talking to. Nobody here is in the gym lifting weights and you know what I mean? This is not a CrossFit convention.
No.
And so to me, it was like, you got to know your audience. So maybe that's not the talk that you give to this particular audience. Well, it's people who are struggling with carb addiction, who are there for support, who are trying to figure out how to not be on the carbs.
Look, they have read
the room.
Why do you think I don't go talk at many things anymore? Because they're bringing on experts I've never heard of before.
Yeah.
You know why? Because guess who's not going to show up? Ken Berry can't show up every week. I can't show up every week. We're busy. We're busy. Trokalasian can't show up every week. Tim Noakes is not going to fly in. That's who you listen to, folks. You listen to Timmy Noakes. You listen to Gary Fetke. You listen to Ken Berry. You listen to Trokalasian. You listen to Dr. Philip Avadia. You listen to Brett Shear. These are the people you listen to.
Do those guys ever talk about carb cycling?
No, because they're talking about the science. These are doctors. You know who else is talking about it the correct way? Gary Taubes. Go read anything he put out there. Robert Lustig. You think Robert Lustig is out there telling people to carb cycle? No, because he knows as a piece of shit it doesn't work. He's not telling people to backload carbs, front load carbs, whatever they're doing. And I'm sorry, I've gotten on and I've been yelling, and I'm sorry, folks. I'm sure I'm in your ears, and it's like, oh my God, I can't listen to this guy anymore. But this is what drives me nuts. I'm trying to stop an outbreak, and they're taking an infected monkey to the airport. I can't deal with this. I just can't deal with this.
You need to play some sad piano, some
meditation
music.
I can't do that because guess what?
Oh, that's right. We're on YouTube.
YouTube is going to go, oh, we can't do it. And I don't want to put Bill through it. Yeah, it just drives me nuts. It all just drives me nuts.
Okay.
Thanks, Anna.
Do you want me to just kind of guide you through it? Just let's take a deep breath.
All right.
In through the nose.
Dog, what do I do?
In through the nose.
Right, hang on.
Out through the mouth. And if you sound like me and have allergies, that's fine.
Just take my glasses off.
Yep,
okay.
We're just going to.
What am I doing? My eyes
relax everybody at home.
Okay.
Take a deep breath in through your nose. 1, 2, 3. Hold it. 1, 2, and exhale through the mouth. 1, 2, 3. There you go. Take another deep breath in through the nose. 1, 2, 3, and hold it for a second and exhale. And 1, 2, 3.
Oh, you know what helps me relax, Anna?
What's that?
This thing right here.
That looks like a sex toy.
It's not a sex toy.
Okay.
What's this?
Oh, it's a mouth. It looks like you're dying. What is that? What is that? Is that a mouth guard?
One
you
of the
breathe
people that
through?
did my Friday show told me to get. And it worked.
Are you going to explain what it is?
Yeah, what it is.
People who aren't watching YouTube, I highly suggest you stop the tape and you go to YouTube and you watch what he just did.
No, this is called.
It was alarming.
They make a bunch of this one's called Breathe Easy, and you can like make it tougher and tougher and tougher, and it builds up your diaphragm.
Oh, cool.
Right? I had James Nestor, who's been on the Friday show maybe 3 or 4 times.
That seems like it'd be good for voice talent.
Oh, absolutely.
I need to get one of those. Post the
Now,
Breathe Easy link.
the reason, just go to Amazon. Go to VinnieTortorich.com, click through, go to Amazon.
Okay.
You could get this one. Do not get, there's one. Look, James Nestor has been on this show 3 or 4 times. As a matter of fact, folks, go back like 2 weeks, and he was finally on Mike Rowe's show, and he did an excellent job on Mike Rowe. Whenever I have any questions about breathing in any way, shape, or form, I get James Nestor on the phone. And I noticed around Christmas time, one of these $200 devices that hooks to a Bluetooth that goes to your phone was being advertised to me the whole time I was in England. And while I was in England, I wrote to James and said, James, you got to come back on the show. I need to know the truth behind these devices. This device, by the way, is $20.
Okay.
You can find it for as cheap as 10.
It's called the Breathe Easy.
Breathe Easy.
Got it.
Breathe Easy. And breathe has an E in it. I'm going to spell it. BREATHEEASY.
Great.
So James Nestor told me that is not bullshit science, that it actually works. And this guy has done more research on lungs and breathing and nasal capacity. And you can listen to him on my back shows. You can go listen to James. He's the guy that you'll like this, Anna. He's the guy that brought Wim Hof to the world. He was the reporter that went and found Wim Hof.
Really?
And yeah, just went up
because Wim
there.
Hof is known for the breathing thing.
Breathing deep and doing. And James Nestor had been working it. He just wanted to go. He heard about this Wim Hof dude, and he went up there and he thought it was all a hoax. And he became a believer, and he actually climbed Kilimanjaro with Wim Hof, like in Speedos. You know, they went up in Speedos.
That's awesome.
So yeah, no, James
That's awesome. I
is
love
the
it.
real deal. And I'm a big fan. And he loves being on the show. And I've had him on, I think, 3 times now. And the last
Breathe
show,
Easy.
Go on.
Is it called something else? Because I come up with Breathe Easy and it's a bunch of teas and supplements and.
No.
Here it is. Improve your lung capacity and increase your endurance.
Yeah.
This is called Expand a Lung.
And by the way, I use this to relax. I never really do all the exercises you're supposed to do. Yeah. I do a couple of them. It takes a few minutes, and most people have to take drugs to relax or do anything else. I use this. That's why it sits on my desk. Whenever I get all worked up while I'm doing my text or whatever, my Instagram, I put this in my mouth, and it works. I might do it for a couple of minutes before I get on my spinner, before I get on my.
I cannot find that exact one that you have. All I can find is a different brand.
You don't have to get the exact one because there's no.
Is Expand a Lung the same thing? Yes,
that's exact. If you notice, they look exactly the same, just different colors. Okay. There are different companies in China putting these out.
Right.
And they all work.
Buying it.
They all.
I am a huge fan of breath work in general, and how it really does change.
Yeah.
Your entire approach to the world if you will literally just stop and breathe a little bit.
Yeah. And look, I tell people all the time, I always tell them when you're walking or doing, have your mouth closed, breathe through your nose. Even if you have a deviated septum, if you can breathe out of one side of your nose. And James talks about that, how your nose works back and forth and one side is always more open than the other. Go read his books, Anna. They're in the Vinnie.
That's awesome.
Look up James Nestor's books.
I'm looking him up right now.
Here. We're going to give him because this is making me feel better because I feel like I was yelling about something and I shouldn't have been yelling about it. And I know Ben Azadi's helped a lot of people. I'm not quite sure why he's talking about that and what he's talking about. But if it's confusing,
well, I couldn't find a recent video on his YouTube about it, so I feel like maybe he just talked about it at the places. Maybe he didn't.
But still, why would he be?
And maybe there's more details to it that we don't know.
Yeah.
The book is called Breath, the New Science of a Lost Art.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to get this because I have actually started. So here's the thing. I'm terrible at meditation. I'm terrible at the focus that it requires. I'm terrible at quieting my brain. So if you do a breath work meditation, you have something to do while you're meditating.
Yeah.
And so it's called pranayama. And I've been doing these things and I'm telling you, it's been changing. It's life-changing.
He talks about prana a lot, I think. I think
Well,
I
the
can't
lady I've
remember.
been doing it with is Bree Melanson, BreeMelanson, and she's got one of those voices, you know what I mean? Where you're like,
Right.
oh yeah, I gotta meditate. But again, I'm terrible at the meditate. I like a guided meditation. I'm good because it gives me something to do, right? But the breath work is even better because then you're physically doing something. But then you find it, the repetition of it and the breathing makes you relax, but then it also brings shit up that you need to work, which I like.
Absolutely.
Because I am the queen of, I will squish it. We have things to do. Squish it, you know? So I actually really like that shit. So I am definitely going to get the book Breath by James Nestor.
Not and
Breath.
if
Yes,
you
Breath.
like that book, then you can find some of his older books, because look, whenever I go out and run, it's easy for me when I'm on the spinner because I get my heart rate right to, 128, 130, and I can keep my mouth closed and I watch a TV show or whatever for an hour and a half, whatever I do. And that's fine. I get on the rowing machine and same deal. I can keep my mouth closed, stay in zone 2. I keep a heart rate monitor on for both. And when I go out and run, same deal. Hang on. I don't know why I have a frog in my throat. It's just I've been doing so much today. I'm sorry. When I go out and run, because it's hilly where I live, I'll take off running and I might be running for 30, 45 minutes and mouth is completely closed. I'm breathing through my nose. It all feels great. And then all of a sudden I'll get to an incline and I'm on the incline and I know my heart rate's going up because it's getting tougher and I'm breathing through my nose more heavily. And that's what slows me down. Before I open my mouth to start gasping for breath, I just slow the run down. And
interesting.
It's
almost like a zone 2.
And
like what's it called? A moderator. What is it called?
It's a governor. It's a governor.
Thank you.
You're governed by your nose, and it works like.
I love that.
It works like a charm. So
should I think I'll get the audiobook of Breath because I have 2 Audible because I just bought the 12-week year that our mutual friend John Scaroli said to get. Because I've always said, how can you figure out how to compress the next 3 to 5 years in the next 6 to 12 months? I've always kind of thought that way because let's get it done faster. And he goes, you need to read a book called The 12-Week Year to compress the next year into the next 12 weeks. And I was like, I love it. So I just got that book.
John Scaroli is becoming my favorite person.
Oh my God. Don't you love him?
I introduced you to him, right?
You sure did. You get 1,000% credit on that.
Yeah, I don't need credit. I love this guy. I was on a meeting with him today. We were having a meeting with him. Yeah, he's a good guy. Folks, we love John Scaroli around here, and you should love John Scaroli too. He's a guy that's done great with his health. And got himself. Yeah. I probably look, the way John and I started talking was he's one of those guys that kept calling me for consults.
Yeah.
He did more than one, like 3, I think, or 4. And in one of them, he said something about some business stuff. And I was like, oh, wait, you know about this stuff? And he was like, yeah. And he was really, like self-deprecating and just, didn't go, well, do you know who I am? He's just, yeah, I can introduce you to this guy and that guy. And I was like, wait a minute. I think Anna needs to know about this guy too. And,
and by the way, what do you think the chances are that we're mispronouncing his last name?
1,000%.
Like very high.
Yeah. Okay. I think it's Chiaroli or something like that.
He won't even know that we're talking about him because he'll think we're talking about some other John.
He knows. He's a wop. He knows we're talking about it.
Yeah, he knows.
Yeah, he knows.
He knows. Okay, well, I'm going to ask an unrelated question. I'm actually glad that we went on the breath work.
Make me as mad as the last question?
No, it won't. And by the way, I'm not intending to make you mad.
Well, thank you.
But the deal is, by the way, you guys, Vinnie and I did an Instagram live Q&A for an hour, and he gave the best breakdown on Zone 2 training that he's ever given. That's sitting on my Instagram. If you go to Anna Vocino, what is it? Instagram.com/Anna Vocino. It's sitting there just waiting for you to watch. And we do these from time to time. Please tune in because then you get to ask your question. You get to, plus you get to be sassy in the chat, which is always very fun. But there's there's so much resources out there. You answer so many questions. And so it doesn't surprise me that a carb cycling thing would come up, because shit like that just comes up, because you get pelted with this stuff every which way, you know? And by the way, if you think that Vinny's full of shit, go try it and see how you feel. See what happens.
Yeah.
If it worked for you, great. If it doesn't, you'll know right away. And you'll go back to your NSNG.
It's just,
I know.
I'm passionate about this.
But that's
stuff.
like saying that I know, but that's like saying like, I hate this, that, or the other thing. It's like, but people are going to do it anyway. They have to have the experiential journey.
Right.
Like kids have to go to college and get super wasted in order to know that like, maybe we don't want to get so super wasted. You know what I mean?
Except for me, who never got wasted in college and regret it. But I did get wasted on one of our podcasts about a week.
I was going to say, you got wasted recently and you regret it.
It took exactly one drink to make me wasted, because I went over there. I went next door to Hank's on a completely empty stomach. Anna, can I talk about this for a second before we get to the next question?
Sure.
Okay. That day. Okay. Now everyone's going to think I'm a freak now because I'm saying this. I probably did 3 phone calls, equaling, I think I did 3 phone calls that day. So one of them was a half an hour, the other. So I walked for 2.5 hours. Right.
Right.
That morning, I think that morning I had about a pound of ground beef and egg. I made like an over and easy egg, and I put on top of the beef, and I just let it, oh, so good. And so then I did the 2.5 hours of walking, probably talked to John Scaroli that morning. And then at some point, I got to get my hour of aerobics in, because that's part of my New Year's resolution. So I probably did, an hour and a half of aerobics. And then at some point, I worked out here at my gym, probably worked out for 45 minutes doing some weight work. And then I did a podcast. And after that podcast, I realized that Hank had invited me over. He said he wanted to talk to me and some of the new guys in the neighborhood. So I just figured, just go over there. I'm in between shows. Your show's coming up. I go over, and his whole talk was just to test scotches. Now, all I've done all day since I had the meet at 7 a.m. was work out. It was one of those days where I was moving all day.
Right.
Right. It's how I keep my sanity. I just keep moving. I'm sorry, folks. I have a problem. You do not have to exercise as much as I do. I do it to keep my sanity. I go over on a completely empty stomach, all depleted from working out. And they put a little sliver of scotch, and he goes, taste this. Tell me what you think. And it's like, oh, very peaty. It's an Isla. Oh, great.
Right.
Very good. And then it's like, now we're comparing that to this one. Taste that one. Take a little sip. I'm leaving, and I'm looking at what Hank is pouring, and this is not cheap stuff.
Right.
For me, this is like holiday once a year stuff.
Right.
These bottles are in the hundreds of dollars. So now I feel obligated to finish the sliver of booze. Right.
Right.
I only had like 5 or 6 slivers, which probably equaled a couple of ounces. Right.
Right.
But I had to finish it all because I saw the bottles it was coming from. Okay. And I couldn't leave this because these folks, I'm not a rich man, but apparently Hank has got some money, and some of these bottles were a couple of $100, right? They're like dream bottles. And when I got up to walk back over here, I walked in the house. I said, honey, I got to go do a podcast. She goes, you're slurring. I went, I know. I know. I got to go do this show. And I tried to drink some water, but I was drunk halfway through that show. And then said something I shouldn't have said. And then we had to cut out like 20 minutes of the show. I lost my mind that day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I can't wait to go back over to Hank's. I
love it when Vinny goes through his rebellious phase and we all get to reap the benefit. So here's the last question. Speaking of the last phase. Mikey asks, hey man, had a thought this week that might make a good pod topic. Mentality of lifting weight at the gym versus lifting weight for work. I'm a commercial plumber. Hate lifting at the gym, but love to throw a stick of 3. He said 3-inch copper on my shoulder, but maybe he means 3 foot. I don't know. And walk it 100 yards. He probably means 3 foot. Or is it 3-inch thick piece of copper?
I got a feeling it's
heavy. Whatever he's talking about is heavy.
Yeah. All right. So I'm not really understanding the question.
Mikey basically wants to know is his work lifting enough, or does he need to go lift weights at the gym because he doesn't want to lift weights at the gym? He likes his work lift outs. Workouts.
By the way, now we have a couple of songs for the end of the show.
Oh, I'm sure.
Okay. I've often said that if you go to a third world country and you said, you know how we always go, oh, people in third world countries think that the streets are lined with gold here?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you go to a third world country and you say, hey, over in America, they have these big places, these big auditoriums, and they have all of there's a ton
of air conditioned auditoriums with a lot of bathrooms.
Yeah, but you don't
fresh water.
Don't tell them that, because you don't want their heads to explode. You say they have these big rooms, big warehouses. Yeah. And what goes on in those warehouses? Well, people go in there and there's a lot of weight, and they lift the weights up and they move them around, and then they put them down, they lift them up again. It's like, oh my God, they're moving steel around? Oh yeah. Yeah, they're moving steel back and forth, up and down, sideways. And some of them, if you think it's not cruel enough, they'll put rubber bands around their knees and they got to squat this weight down with the rubber bands on their knees and the whole thing.
I like that. I like the rubber bands on the knees.
And some people, they have to lay underneath weight and push it up, and they'll actually have chains hanging off of that. It's like, they'll look and go, oh, it sounds so cruel. I mean, we have it bad here. And it's like, well, what do they get paid? $1 a day? What kind of money do they get for that? You know, it's like,
no, they're paying them.
So you don't understand. They're paying to do this. And that's when the person in the third world country gets confused. It's like, no, who's paying who? It's like the person that's moving the weights, they're paying. They're paying a lot of money.
For the privilege of moving the weights.
Wait a minute. How do they make money? Oh, they make money by sitting on their ass all day. They sit in something called a cubicle, and they have something called a computer in front of them. And all they do is just sit there and tap keys. Well, what are they doing while they're tapping the keys? Well, not a whole lot, usually watching porn or playing some kind of candy break or something. But, and they get paid for that. No, they get paid to show up and pretend they're working, but they're watching porn and playing Candyland. Is that one of the games? Is it called?
Sure. Yeah. Candy Crush, but Candyland is the same thing.
And they actually play game. You know how you guys have like gorillas that come in with machine guns? Yeah. Not in this country. No, they play something called Halo, and they have fake machine guns, and they just they get to watch it on that same screen. So
it's true.
They're having sex by looking at that screen. And then when they're done with that, then they watch war, because they don't have any. You see, these people don't have any real problems, so they're trying to create problems. They're trying to look at problems, right? And some of them
trying to feel something.
Some of them don't even want to get in shape. They just go to a place called Instagram. Now stick with me. When they get to this Instagram, they look at chicks that they want to look like, but they're not going to put the work in. But one day they want to look like that. So they look at that. And then they go to that gym. Again, they pay to go there, and they move around. They move the weights. They get underweights. They squat the weight down. They move it around, and they pay to do it. You see, we never had to do that back in my grandfather's day, because my grandfather worked manual labor his entire life.
Right.
My grandfather looked like an athlete. He had
Right.
broad shoulders. He was ripped when he died at 93 or 94. I can't remember. He was still ripped. You could still see his cheekbones and his jawline, and you could still see muscles in his neck, and you could still, the guy was ripped. As a matter of fact, someone was telling me, you know, when he got so old, sometimes they would have to help him move. And they were like, it's like picking up a solid piece of muscle when you pick up Mr. Mike Tortorich, right? Because he worked his entire life, manual labor.
Right.
Right. And during the Depression, he worked out in California, out in that desert, right? Where people now go and you see, okay, let's go back to our third world country. People go out, there's a desert. Okay, it's called Badwater. It's called Death Valley. It's the hottest place in the Western Hemisphere. Oh, really? Obviously no one lives there, right? And say, oh no, they don't live there, but people pay. Again, they don't get paid. They pay to go out there and try to run out of that desert. They run 135 miles on foot. And it's like, well, why don't they use a donkey? It's like, no, it's cheating. Can't use a donkey. And by
That's
the way,
cheating.
Yeah, you cannot use a donkey at all. You can't use a horse, a mule, a donkey. And, you know, they have cars. Well, oh my God, why don't they get in their car? That's cheating.
Well, that's how they get to Badwater.
Yeah, their car drops.
And then they leave the car.
Yeah. And then they get out of a perfectly good car and they start running out of there. And don't look, we have airplanes. Don't even get me started on skydiving. They will dive out of a perfectly good plane. See, you couldn't explain this to people in the third world country. They won't get it. And we try to figure out why the terrorists want us dead. They look around and go, these people got so much energy, they have to go to a gym after they do porn all day and play Halo and all this stuff. Then they have to go to the gym and they have to move around. What's this guy's name that asked the question?
Mikey.
Not Mikey. Mikey's got a handful of fucking copper pipe.
That's right.
He doesn't have to go to the gym. He's like my grandfather. One of the things I ask people when I do the consults, when they go, how much exercise do I need? I'll say, well, what do you do for a living? And they think I'm trying to figure out how much money they make. I can't give a fuck how much money you make. I don't care. I'm not asking you for a job. I'm not asking you for a date. I don't care. I don't care how much money you make. I need to know how physical you are on a daily basis so that I can now prescribe something to you. Right? And by the way, when I started this conversation before Mikey, I admitted I have to get on a bike that goes nowhere.
Right.
You go
just for your own sanity.
You go to an Asian country, guys like, wait a minute, you're pedaling a bike? Obviously, you know, you got, it's one of those cabs, right? You put a couple of people in the back and you drive them through the city. Nope. Well, are you using it for conveyance? Or are you going to the next village to buy some eggs? Nope. Where do you go on your bike? I go nowhere. There's no wheels on it. There's no wheel. It's just, I just have to pedal. It's like, well, where are you pedaling to? Nowhere. And by the way, I get on a thing. It's like a rowboat. Obviously you have to get across the water to go hunting on the other side, right? That's where the animal. Nope.
That's cute. No.
Nope. I get on my rowing device and you know how far it goes? Nowhere. I will be on it for an hour and a half and I'm
never leave this room.
When I started, as a matter of fact, I went 2.5 feet up, 2.5 feet back, and rinse and repeat. Never moved. My boat goes nowhere. I got a paddle erg over there that's different than a rowing machine. You assimilate paddling. It's like, oh, obviously you're paddling a canoe, right? Because you could go down the river, right? And you can fish. Nope. When I paddle my canoe, I'm watching.
But one day you will leave your house and you will fish. You get in the bayou, you will get in the kayak, and boy, will you go places.
So you understand? It's like I'm sitting
one
here
day
pretending. I'm pretending.
Yeah, it is crazy when you look at. But here's my question to tweak on that. For Mikey, he's lifting the things, he's throwing over his shoulder. He's got You always say you have to do pull-ups, and it doesn't sound like is there any work where you would do pull-ups?
Yeah. My grandfather used to do. I used to see my grandfather. Sometimes I go home and I
climb up on the
"Hey,
thing.
Vinny."
Okay.
He was like, "Yeah, I'm in a tree." I look up. He's in a tree with a saw, with a handsaw, cutting branches off. Yeah. Look,
all I'm saying is, would you tell somebody, hey, make sure you're just doing this one move that maybe you're not typically doing?
Mikey is not doing. If Mikey's a plumber,
yeah,
he's lifting this coil off the ground.
Right.
He's moving it around. There's not a whole lot he has to do.
Okay.
If he wants to build up certain muscles to look a certain way. But if you're asking me if this guy is getting the work in, he's getting the work in.
There you go, Mikey.
Right?
Congratulations. For the rest of us, we got to do it.
I got to write down how much aerobics I'm doing for the year. Because I can't have my Eat Happy Kitchen pink crema sauce unless I do my aerobics for the year. That's how I reward myself.
We have it back in stock.
Okay, so now I can eat my last one because now I could get more.
Right.
I was hanging on to it, Anna. I have one left.
The pink crema sauce, we actually ran out of all the sauce flavors, but the pink crema is the one that we have the least of because it's the hardest to replenish because of supply chain. We're about to roll into all Pavilions locations in about 3 weeks. So we had to make a whole bunch for them, which means we had leftovers for the direct to consumer. So thank you to everybody who writes to me and Vinny who says, hey, why don't you try to get into XYZ store? It actually is really helpful. We do reach out and do that. The grocery process takes a long time. Like this Pavilions thing, I've been working on her for a year. And she said yes back in April, and we still won't be on the shelves until mid to late September. Right?
Yeah, that's the way it works.
So you can get your gravy at eathappykitchen.com. And I would love it if you would, especially while we have them in stock to ship to you.
Yeah.
Vinny knows how this goes. We try to keep a regular supply going, and then all of a sudden there'll be a run on it and it runs out. But right now, I think I have about 42 to 45 twin packs of this crema.
Get it right now. Run her out of this.
Run me out of it. And go to eathappykitchen.com, get the dust
aside, please.
I will. I'll put some aside for you. In fact, I have some here that I can send to you. For sure. The crema, the puttanesca, the marinara are there. Go get them. Get the dusts, get the dill, get the barbecue, get the taco seasoning. And I appreciate it. Thanks for your support. This is why I do this.
Eathappykitchen.com. Mm-hmm. Eat Happy Kitchen. Go check it all out. You know what? If you're going to get stuff from Eat Happy Kitchen, you're not done. You got to also get yourself some Villa Capelli olive oil. Villa Capelli olive oil, the best olive oil on the planet. And I'm not just saying that because they pay us. I'm saying that because we were saying that before they ever paid us. It's actually in the pink crema sauce. It's written right there on the back.
Made with 100% real extra virgin olive oil from Villa Capelli is what it says on every jar of sauce because it is the truth. And by the way, the reason why I put that there is because people are starting to get more savvy and understand that the olive oil has been cut with cheaper oils, and it's legal. Right. They're legally allowed to do that, which is the part that blows my mind because I'm always like, well, wouldn't we be protected from such lies? No. We're not. In fact, you have to protect yourself. No. So Villa Capelli, I've seen them make the oil with my own eyes. We know the proprietors. We always say this, know who's making your food as much as you possibly can. Yep. If you could know your local rancher or farmer or people at the farmer's market, please get to know them because these are the people who are doing literally the Lord's work of delivering nice food to people. Villa Capelli olive oil, you're going to use olive oil every day when you cook NSNG, whether you're making a salad dressing or you're marinating some meat or you're sauteing something. So get the best that you possibly can. VillaCapelli.com. And that Capelli has 2 P's and 2 L's. CAPPELLI. VillaCapelli.com. Use the discount code Vinny. You'll get 10% off your order each and every time. Here's the trick. Get your order some extra oils, get the 3-liter tin, maybe get some salts and spices, get your order up so that when you use the discount code, you still qualify for the free shipping. That's how we like to game the system.
Yep. Folks, you know what to do. We all go shopping on Amazon. Before you go to Amazon, go to VinnieTortorich.com, click through the banner, puts a little coal on the fire, gets my train down the track. We have a super fan page. You can go to VinnieTortorich.com and check all of that out. I'm going to turn this part of it off because I got 2 songs now that we have to play.
Oh boy.
That's right. Because you said something when we were talking
It's all
about
happening.
the plumber guy. And, yeah, we got